Still in business, President Nana Addo Akuffo Addo has indicated that reforms to Ghana's import duty regime will bring down the high duties prevailing in Ghana's ports, and they are in the offing and will be rolled out soon. With many having petitioned the state to intervene and review the high taxes and duties on imported items, President Akuffo Addo assured that government is already in the process of dealing with the matter. The president was speaking at a town hall meeting in Worcester, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. Now, let's get onto the phone lines now and speak to Samson Asaki Awingobit. He is secretary for the Importers and Exporters Association. Good evening, Samson. Hello, Samson. I'm not sure I have Samson over the phone, but it will be interesting to speak to Samson on the subject. I'll give it another. Well, my understanding that Samson is not over the telephone, but during the same event, the NDC branch of the NDC branch in Massachusetts, Worcester, decided to hold a demonstration. For what reason, I have no idea. Now let's speak to JIBREAL Hamenoo. He is a communications executive for the Worcester NDC chapter, and he's joined us over the telephone. Good evening, JIBREAL.
Hi, good evening, Keminni.
It would appear that the president was bearing good news. For instance, a reduction in high import charges. It's a good thing. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, it would have been a good thing if that is actually the reality. The fact is that those of us who live abroad and ship stuff to Ghana and pay import duty every time will attest to the fact that that is not a reality. And that just feeds into, you know, the dishonesty we see in this government with every other issue. You know, whilst telling us A, the reality is actually B.
Well, but he tells us that new plans are in the offing to make sure that import duties indeed do come down. And so it begs the question, why demonstrate in Massachusetts?
So, Keminni, if you remember the first State of the Nation address of the president, I think the first budget by the finance minister, there were a lot of promises to reduce import tariffs. That has never happened. In fact, the reality is that things are even more expensive now. We in Massachusetts, NDC Massachusetts, we decided, you know, to once again remind the president while he is in our jurisdiction about the litany of issues, the litany of problems that his government is insensitive to in Ghana. For example, the rocketing dollar rates, the energy problems you just discussed on this news, the nepotism where, you know, government is made up of friends and family, and the general dishonesty to the people. You know, if you tell the people the truth, they can prepare and plan to lead their lives with it. And so we thought this is an opportunity to first of all remind the president and his group of followers, as well as the entire world, that these are issues. He should start getting sensitive with the people, start being honest with the people, and take care of the needs of the ordinary Ghanaian people.
But, you know, I'll come back to you about the demonstration, but let me talk to Samson quickly. Samson has joined us over the telephone. Now, Samson, JIBREAL, on the other hand, thinks that this may not be really any good gesture by the administration. You work directly in import and export. What do you think about the president's plans to reduce import and export duties?
Well, good evening, madam. I believe I'm talking to Nanaba. Am I right?
This is Keminni Samson.
Oh, Keminni, good evening and happy New Year for a very long time.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I must say it's a noble idea. It is a good news to the business community, but we need to treat it with caution, in a sense that the business community should not seem to be divided among themselves. That's what I'm taking from intelligence. I looked at the multinational saying that the government is rather turning all its attention and strength to only the indigenous, and for the multinationals are going to be left out. But the point is that all of us are anxious to hear which area that the government intends to reduce or the president intends to reduce the duties from it, which commodity, which items. For us, we know that the government can have a little control on the equipment.
Right. So Samson, my next question then to you is, first of all, we do not know by how much or by what percentage the reduction is. But reduction, as you say, could be a good thing. But what is the reduction if we see a dwindling value of the cedi every now and then for you as an importer?
Well, the value on the cedi, that one, we have to talk about export. We have to ask the government what policies and what programs are they putting in place. Because any country that doesn't do much export, but rather do import, definitely your currency cannot be stable. You will see what we are experiencing during the last 3 weeks or so. The point is that Ghana, we are not doing much on the the non-traditional export. All what we do, all what government, from the previous to this current government, they are talking about the oil, our gold, and others. But we have left with the non-traditional export. That is the handicraft. We are left those who are farming our pepper, our okra. We are not doing much on export. But the point here is that it's not about that. We are looking forward to see which area the government keep everybody in suspense. You know, the president keep everybody in suspense. Because after yesterday, he could not tell us which area particularly that his government intends to reduce the tariff from.
Very well.
So we cannot be jubilating when we don't know the area. And as you said, everybody has an interest in this. Maybe tomorrow you can say, okay, I'm not going to reduce anything from those who import rice. I'm not going to reduce anything from those who import frozen food because we think that Ghana can produce. But the point is, we can produce or we are producing. Do we have sufficient to feed ourselves and have some profit for export and people are still importing? No.
Indeed.
So certain measures we need to take it on a gradual way. We cannot get pushed. When we want to push everything, at the end of the day, we will leave the Ghanaians into their own vein because the business community will.
Hold on briefly for me. Samson, you raised very important points, and I want to finish with you in a moment. But just hold on. Before you joined us, there was JIBREAL who is joining us live, over the phone from the USA. Now, JIBREAL, if demonstrations solved anything at all, we would have seen a lot of changes in the NDC administration. This demonstration that you held, to what extent do you think would influence the situation you tell us is at hand?
So demonstrations, we believe that, the president is honest when he requested of us Ghanaians to be citizens and not spectators. And so my first response to that is we hope that the message that we have communicated to him and his entourage during this demonstration will let him sit back and think again that he's getting a positive feedback from people who genuinely need things to change rather than just praise fingers for him to really look at his policies and also consider that and realize that truly the economy is broke. The city is failing. There's too much corruption, and he needs to back up and get things down to save all of us. Very well,
JIBREAL, I'm grateful for your time, JIBREAL. JIBREAL Hamenoo is a communications executive for NDC Massachusetts. He was one of those who joined the many who went to the town hall meeting in Worcester to demonstrate. But Samson Asaki is still